Welcome to EPG Pathshala. This module discusses the statistical analysis of hydrologic data and hydrology frequency analysis. Now here the learning objectives are that this is basically a theoretical module where we understand why statistics is important in hydrology. So we will be discussing a few definitions of statistics and probability and the occurrence of events, and to understand the importance of various statistical distributions. And why is it that we need this in hydrology? That is because till now all the modules that you would have understood or discussed is on essentially the physical emphasis is on the physical factors which determine the movement of water in a catchment or in a river basin. But the whole point is that it is not just the climatic characteristics which are important. There are certain events which happen in hydrology which are also known for their randomness. So if we have to understand these random events, we have to understand the statistics, various statistical formula that are available which can be applied to hydrology. And why is that so? We know that statistics is a very established subject, but its application in hydrology is still evolving. So certain matters occur randomly in the environment, and therefore we take samples to understand the hydrology, the hydrological aspects of the event. So in this case, what happens is that the phenomena is something that has been happening over thousands of years, but the data that is available to the hydrologist is only for a very short period of time. So even if we say that 30 years of data is available or 50 years of data is available in a period of 500 years or 1000 years that the river has been flowing, it is only a very small sample that is available to us. So we have to understand or make do with that sample and understand the various characteristics. So when we look at this, what we really see is that this statistics and probability has to be used to understand the extreme rainfall events and floods. And sometimes the extreme rainfall events and floods are not so easy to understand with the help of the physical factors only. Yes, we know that the catchment characteristics, the rainfall intensity and duration are important to understand the flood flow, the stream flow, but how is it that certain times the rainfall intensity is so high, the duration of rainfall is so long, or the fact that it rains for a very long period of time, as in 5 days, 7 days, how to understand that? So that can be understood. These are those extreme events where the rainfall intensity is so high that we want to understand when is it going to occur again. When is this extreme event likely to occur again? Why? Because whenever there is an extreme rainfall event, we know that there is a lot of water that flows, and that creates a lot of disturbance, damage in the catchment. And hence the statistical approach to hydrology, what we realize here in the statistical approach is, or frequency and frequency studies is, in spite of the fact that we have data for, let us say, only 30 years or 50 years, we are able to predict what will happen after 100 years or 200 years. Meaning that if I know that the highest flood that occurs in 50-year time period is, let us say, 300 meter cube per second, but by using statistical distributions I will be able to predict the occurrence of the extreme event, because that would be an outlier. No matter that the outlier is an outlier, therefore it has a certain probability, a certain chance of occurrence, but we will be able to find out that chance of occurrence, that it will happen only once in 500 years or once in 200 years. So essentially what we are doing is, it is the characteristic of the population that we study. So a sample, as we all understand, the basic of statistics is that we have a population. Since we cannot study the entire population, we only study a sample from the population, and that sample we study with the help of median and mean. And when we use this median and mean, that is the statistical approach that we apply, and with the help of that we take care of the frequency of occurrence. And then the idea, the whole idea, as you perhaps are can follow, is the fact that we want to understand that this occurrence, what is the probability, what is the chance of a high flood event of, let us say, 1000 meter cube per second or 10,000 meter cube per second happening. So, it is not just the flood frequency analysis, we can also do the extreme rainfall event occurrence. For example, the rainfall that occurred in Mumbai, wherein there was a nearly 995 millimeters of rainfall that occurred over a 24-hour period of time. So, that was certainly an extreme event which cannot be explained by the ordinary hydrological factors that we use. So, what is the chance that that occurrence will happen, in how many years will it happen? So, the return period is important to understand, because the return period is defined as the reverse of probability. So, if the return period is 100 years, then the probability is 1 by 100. That is how it is explained. So, when we see, so what are these typical statistical methods that we can use? So, in most cases what we find is that the data is either inadequate for the large floods, for the simple reason that whenever there is a large flood that has occurred, many of these instruments get washed away, and so we do not have the peaks. Now, there are certain models which we use to measure peak flood flow, like the rational method in case of catchments or the hydrograph in case of streams, but those cannot be used, or most of the time they are difficult. With them we cannot find out what is the extreme event, or even if we are able to find out the extreme event flood discharge, we would still need a statistical method to correlate and see that even statistically whether we get it or not. So, when we talk in terms of extreme events, today we also talk in terms of drought, because the drought happens to be the low flow. So, we should be able to predict as to what can be the drought occurrence in the river. Will it be once in 5 years? Will it be once in 50 years? So, the hydrologists try and combine the knowledge of statistics with the various physical characteristics of the catchment that are available to them. And so, these distributions of magnitude can be for annual floods, it can be for daily events, and it can also be for 7-day low flood frequency periods. The 7-day low flood frequency periods are important, because if the flow is very, very low, then if that happens in the case of irrigation, whenever we are doing irrigation, then we will need to augment that with the reservoir flow. So, the collection of various kinds of data that we have, so we do the frequency studies of that. So, we here study the hourly events, the daily events, and we take a collection of the rainfall data that is available to us, and using that we find out the mean, the median, and based on that we try and fit it in a certain statistical distribution based on the sample data that we have. And then we should understand a little bit of hypothesis testing as well. As far as the hypothesis testing is concerned, there is a null hypothesis and there is an alternate hypothesis. The null hypothesis is that this kind of daily scenario will continue, as in the aquifer water is not influenced by the water quality. That could be the null hypothesis, and the alternate hypothesis could be that the distribution of the aquifer characteristics, as in the hydraulic conductivity, changes depending on the direction of flow. So, the null hypothesis is that there is no difference in the hydraulic conductivity that occurs because of the change in groundwater flow, while the alternate hypothesis is that the hydraulic conductivity changes. And so, what we see, and then again it can be a one-tailed hypothesis or a two-tailed hypothesis. The one-tailed hypothesis is that because of the difference in gradient in the aquifer, the water flow will change only in one direction, while the two-tailed hypothesis is that depending on the change in gradient, the flow of water can be in either direction. So, all these are done with the help of the statistical testing. So you see here the hypothesis testing that is done. Now again here we have different methods of hypothesis testing. So any standard textbook on hydrology which discusses statistics will be able to tell us about these hypothesis testing methods. So we have these F characteristics, the Z value that we calculate, and with the help of that we do the hypothesis testing. But nevertheless, it is important to be first able to establish a hypothesis that we say, and the hypothesis testing is essentially done on the basis of strength of the statistical evidence that we have. So if we have a statistical evidence, only then we will be able to do the hypothesis testing. And then we try and fit in the statistical distribution. As you can see on your screen, what we have is the normal distribution. The normal distribution happens to be the most common form of distribution, where you can see that the major, so what we find is that the average happens to be the highest. So that is, and you have the left tail and the right tail. So the left tail and the right tail are explained with the help of the standard deviation. So you have these values going by 1 standard deviation away from the mean, and 2 standard deviation and 3 standard deviations away from the mean. So it is the probability of a variable. For example, we can either take that variable to be the annual flood flow, or we can take it to be the daily event, and we try and find out the probability of that variable, and this we do by using pure statistics. Now there are numerous statistical distributions that are available to us. We either have the normal distribution, the log normal distribution, the Pearson type 3, or the Gumbel. Now the normal distribution I just explained to you. The log normal distribution is typically telling us that the variation in the statistical distribution is in terms of log. That means that the variation is multiplicative instead of being additive. And then the Pearson type 3 is another way of understanding an extreme value distribution. The Pearson type 3 is of course a form of log distribution only, and then we have the Gumbel distribution. Statistically in hydrology, the Gumbel distribution is the most common form of distribution that is used. As far as the normal probability density function is concerned, which is generally explained as PDF, what you can see is the sigma, which happens to be the standard deviation, and you have the x, which happens to be the flood flow. The flood is mentioned. Now once again you must understand here, the flood actually does not mean that the flood has occurred, but it is talking about the highest annual river flow, that is referred to as flood flow. Now here you can see that the log normal distribution is again a 2 parameter distribution. So when we are talking in terms of parameters, it is essentially the mean and the standard deviation, and here you can see that the parameters are the same, except that they have been raised to the ln. So you can see that it is ln minus ln x minus mu, that is of course raised to this power 2. Then we come to this Gumbel distribution function. When we come to the Gumbel distribution function, you will see that here it is exponentially raised to the power y, and that is further again raised to the power of e raised to the power minus y. This is of course again explained as f of x is equal to e raised to the power minus z, and that is further exponentially raised to another e raised to the power minus z. So this is clearly telling you how complicated the distribution of extreme value can be. So what Gumbel did was that he simplified this distribution. And how did he simplify this distribution? He said that if we want to find out the flood flow which occurs at xt, as in where t happens to be the return period of flood flow, then that xt is equal to x bar plus k times sigma, where you know that x and sigma are the two parameters that we were talking about. So as far as x bar is concerned, that is the mean flood flow, while the sigma happens to be the standard deviation, and k is the frequency factor, and this frequency factor k is determined with the help of the ln, as you can see, ln of t upon t minus 1. So that is yt is equal to minus of ln of a natural log of t upon t minus 1. So I shall just explain this to you. So what is happening is, the way to go about it is, let us say if we want to find out what is the flood flow that occurs in the stream over a period of time of t years. So let us say that the t happens to be 100. So ln of 100 upon 99 is a natural log, and we find the natural log of that and we get the yt. While the values that are coming on your screen are 0.577 and 1.2825. Now these are figures for the value of the reduced variate y, which is the y average, and the standard deviation of the reduced variate, which is 1.2825. Now this is when the data that is available to us is for a period of 100 years or more. So then we can standardize these values. So once you standardize these values and you have the value of yt, you substitute in the formula which is given for k. So that gives us the frequency factor. Using that frequency factor, we are able to calculate the flood flow. So the important thing to understand in case of Gumbel's distribution is that we have the prediction for the probability. Now when we say probability, that means we are talking in terms of the return period, that is t, and it is not just important to know what is the return period of flood flow, it is also important to know what is the actual flood flow going to be like, as in what is going to be the value of xt. So here again we have an example for you. Here what we can see is that the mean annual flow is given to us as 600 meter cube per second. So again, this mean annual flow of 600 meter cube per second is related to the number of years of the data that we have. So number of years of data means the sample data. Now this sample data can be for a period of 30 years, can be for a period of 20 years or 50 years. So what we have done is, we have taken all these annual flood flows. Again, that means the flow which happens to be every year, the highest flow every year has been taken, and we have calculated the mean of that time series, and we have taken the standard deviation of that 50 years of data or 30 years of data, and we find that the standard deviation is 150 meter cube per second. Based on that, we have been given a certain return period, and we have been asked that if this happens to be the magnitude of the flood, tell us what is the return period in which it is going to occur. And here this is an example which has been taken from Subramania, that is mentioned. So what we find is that if we want to find out that, all right, if a certain magnitude of 100 of 1000 meter cube per second is to be used, then what is the return period of occurrence, and this numerical solves and tell us what will be the return period, and that return period happens to be 54.9 years, which means it is 55 years. So if you can relate this to the Mumbai event where the rainfall of 995 millimeters had occurred, so we have the mean and the standard deviation of the rainfall, the highest rainfall that happens in Mumbai. So that data we have for a period of 100 years, because Mumbai is one of those places which has rain gauges over a very long period of time. So we have the average value of the rainfall in the month of July as well as the standard deviation. So when we have the average and the standard deviation and we have the magnitude of 995 millimeters, then we can of course determine the return period using the Gumbel's extreme distribution. So when we look at this, we realize that it is not very difficult to fit in a statistical distribution. So we take a look at the data of 30 years, 50 years, whether flood flow or extreme rainfall events, and we are able to either use the normal distribution or the log normal or the Pearson or the Gumbel's distribution. But it is also important to have understood the physical factors which relate to these extreme events, and then only our learning will be fruitful. So once we have the mean, the coefficient of variation, and We of course, there are the skewness coefficient, the kurtosis, those are all known as parameters. As the statistical distribution increases in increasingly becomes complex, we are able to use these statistical distributions to find out the extreme flood flow that happens, because extreme flood flow is something which we have to understand in context of climate change in the future, because our agricultural planning and urban planning depends on this kind of analysis of extreme events. Thank you.